What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Supernova Bros channel. This is the To Be Named podcast. This is episode 3. We got a special guest with us today, Josh. What the fuck you on me for?
It's episode 4.
Oh, it is.
Okay, listen, Greg loses privileges to do the intro.
All right.
Okay.
That
Greg,
is very
just listen,
valid.
do-over. You ever watch City Slickers do-over?
Yep.
All right, start at episode. Listen, I'll cut all this out. No one will ever hear it.
Nah, keep it for like
Fuck yeah, I'm keeping
fucking
it.
gag reels.
Yeah, no, it's going in the show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the To Be Named podcast, a part of the Supernova Brothers channel. This is be sponsored by the Supernova Bros, which is our YouTube channel, and Inertia Global, which is JT's shindig, which is pretty fucking awesome. We're joined by our special guest today, Josh. That's JT, as you always know. I'm Greg, and we are getting into, what is our catchphrase?
Well, if you're tuning in, you must have an interest in things as...
I'm bad at this. Just redo the whole thing.
Video games, pro wrestling, and other such pops. Just like I do all the time, right?
Yeah, just about.
That was great.
Great, good.
I loved it.
First of all, let's also point out that we are the world's first, because I don't know of any, and I don't know if you know of any, Greg, because we talked about this on the phone today, but we're the world's first 3D audio podcast, and it's some proprietary technology that I've invented right here in Inertia Labs that I'm going to be doing every week, and I think, I can't tell people enough. If you have a chance to put your headphones on right now, stop and put your headphones on. Unless you're at a badass surround sound system in front of your TV or even in your car, it'll work. The 3D audio will work in there, but you're losing out and you're missing out. And we are episode 4. Greg, get back to it. Tell them why they're here.
So while we are here today, we got a lot to get into. We got a lot of wrestling talk. There's been some sex scandals out there. We're going to get into that a little more towards the end of the show. And then, of course, why you guys always come here, video games. Also, we're going to get into Josh a little bit today. Josh is our guest. We're going to get to know him a little bit better and get his takes on some of the latest wrestling and video game news. So what do you say we get into it, guys?
I'm ready. Are you?
I'm also ready.
Okay.
JT was hesitant for a second, so I don't know if he's 100% ready.
I'm just ready. Ready right now. And you know what? I'm sorry I don't have my black hat on. I have this hat. I left my black hat at my sister's house.
He refused to show off the $1 million haircut.
And
that's fuck it. Like, even though it's gray, it's still fresh as shit. Exactly. So I want to talk about something that I know I was very excited for, and it was one of the things that was going to get me from going from console gaming to PC gaming. Cyberpunk 2077. It now got delayed now for the 3rd time. It's being pushed back to a November release. My question to you guys is, do you feel as if they were worried about Last of Us that much that they had to push it back? Or do you think as if it was more better of a marketing situation to maybe have it more for like the next gen rather than for the PS4 and the Xbox One?
Well, that's good. We'll talk about that though.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Well, here's the thing. I trust CD Red Project, fellow Polish creators and artistes. And I feel that I don't think that they would pull back. If you're saying it's a thing between creative or marketing strategy, I don't know if they would be afraid of Last of Us. I think they really bleed the when it's done, and then you'll play it. And I don't see them just holding off to polish something. I don't know.
Well, what do you think, Josh?
I think
he thinks what I tell him to think. Just kidding.
Right.
No,
I think
we're anti-bullying here, JT. Anti-bullying.
Yeah, that's not. Listen, that's tough for me, but I am trying. I'm not saying I'm a perfect human being. You younger guys, you get it. It's natural to you.
You let him speak now. Go ahead, Josh.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
My honest answer is that I actually think it might be both. I think that it's not a bad marketing scheme or ploy, and I think that the next gen idea is great. But I also think maybe they weren't afraid of Last of Us. But if everything people are telling me about Last of Us is true, then maybe it is a game that should be feared. because people are telling me it's changing lives.
And that's the other point I wanted to bring up too, which will be a great segue when we beat this topic up enough to go into that reason. But I don't know. I don't want to say afraid, or I don't want to say scheme, but just strategy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't. Also, right now, there's no really games coming, and you have open windows, so.
And I think also during the September release, you're also competing with games like 2K. You're competing with games like Madden, which will be releasing at the end of July, which is practically September.
Yeah.
So I actually kind of think it is smart, because if you think about it, in September, my list of games was like this fucking big, and I haven't had to buy a game in months. It actually has been pretty good on my wallet until I get the comic book.
Hey! Buy one game every day is what I live by. And if you're not
exactly
playing, then you're probably just talking about playing. Everybody else out there.
So we touched on it a little bit. I want to talk. I know JT. I know you were on the fence about Last of Us 2. I'm not so much interested
on
right
the
now.
Fence, I was completely on the other side. Didn't want anything to do with it. Played the first one. Went okay. Well, I get the story deep.
My journalism read on your Facebook profile that you were now leaning more on the I'm gonna buy it side though.
Well, update to that, I did buy it based on the Chad Whitlatch. Chad Whitlatch, you hear the new chimes?
The silver proof.
Yeah. When he said this thing is an experience, are we done talking about Cyberpunk though? I guess
we're done talking about Cyberpunk. I actually wanted to segment.
Yeah, we can. Let's safely move into here because I didn't want to blush about this game, but damn.
Sure.
When Chad Whitlatch said, and I, quote unquote here, I'm not sure, but this is the best piece of entertainment he may have ever experienced in his. Yeah, Chad's like 70 years old. I think 50, 60. I don't know. You know what I mean? He's a few years older than me. But anyway, for him to say that, and I know the eras of video games this man has seen, that means a lot. And when I asked a few other people, they were like, yeah, just get it. Just get it. And they don't, and we don't really share the same opinions, but I tell you what, I played the game for 4 hours. And I have a friend named Rich Gasher who, we touch base a few times a year. And it's always same things. We talk about, our buddy Billy, his cousin, and tell some Bill Fargo stories. And then we talk about video games. And I swear out of nowhere, yesterday, the day before, I had to text him and say, hey, Rich, hope all is well. Hope you don't have the Rona. You need to pick The Last of Us up. And then he, we went back and forth, and I said, I just can't just get it.
Being someone who played Last of Us 1, it was probably one of my favorite games ever, easily. But the whole idea of the whole Ellie story, like, it doesn't intrigue me. Like, I hated the Ellie mission. Like, it was a cool mission, but I hated it. I seriously hated it. She annoyed the shit out of me. And so that's my issue going into this game is I'm going to be annoyed playing as Ellie the whole time. When Joel was probably one of my favorite characters ever.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And from parts of the game that I've seen, you're only playing as Joel at the very beginning. So I literally played at the very beginning. And I probably never touched the game yet.
Now, Josh, anybody that's in everybody that goes further than an hour into the game probably changes their mind on everything they thought this game was going to be.
I agree, but it's just it's not something that I'm going to go out of my way to pay for right now. I'd rather pay for comic books. So, Josh, what's your thoughts on it, though?
I have a few thoughts. Number one, never played them. I've never played them. I have The Last of Us. It's still sealed, and I just never put it in. I don't know why. I
compulsive game collector.
That's my problem.
But I do know that I wish I would have played it because I found out about what happens at the end. About how
they say
I won't spoil it.
Well, spoilers are okay for the first game.
Okay. How he saved her at the end and didn't let her die. And I remember hearing about that and saying, "Man, I wish I would have played the game." And I'm curious to see if you guys think he should have let her die or not.
No, I'll tell you this. No, that whole battle.
But I didn't play the game, so
here's the thing. So after reading everything Chad had said, and a couple other people, I'm going to fire this game up. This is not a spoiler because this is literally the first couple things you see. Joel's reaccounting the events at the Fireflies or whatever at the hospital, and he's telling somebody this. And I think it's his brother or whatever. I don't know who the guy.
It's like one of his. I think his name was Terry.
Buddy, yeah, I forget his name. Tommy,
yes.
Yeah, and he's telling this story, and Tommy's asking him questions, and he said, "What did Ellie think of that?" And he's like, "Well, I never told her the truth." So right off the bat, right there,
something's going on.
Holy shit!
Something's going on,
right? Because it just shows him driving away at the end of the first game. Right. So here's the thing. Now, fast forward, they're living in an encampment. Years gone by, you find out that they were out on patrol. It throws you right into a story where Ellie is, yes, remember the DLC when she, I forget, was it a little African American girl that with that she falls in love with? They share that kiss. Well, that was true love, and she's a lesbian. And the town sees her kiss this guy, and then you assume the bartender called her, might have made some derogatory, and you're just thrown into this drama.
Sergio or something like that, or Sarge.
Yeah, but you're just thrown into this drama in this lived-in world with this huge bombshell. Like, this girl's now got to live, and she doesn't know. And then at one point, she gets a little intimate with another character, and she tells him where she got this scar. Like, I can't get this. I'm immune. And the girl gets pissed at her because she was like, "Look, I was being real with you, and you're gonna say something crazy like that," because that's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
So I think having to bear that secret or not know, Joel just told her they couldn't help. But then it turns out that she's gonna find answers whether anybody likes it or not. Pumped up.
Yeah, no.
Listen. Then when you get to Seattle, it starts opening up like an open world RPG.
Well, my thing about
I got a map. I'm exploring unknown locations on maps.
As great as that story sounds, like it's still just not something I see myself going out and paying for right away. But I can wait and get that later because I haven't even turned my PS4 on 2 days, and I probably missed out on 2 login bonuses on 2K already.
Well, there you go. Time, as you get older and as everybody gets older, time is not on your side. Eventually, you can't play all the games you want to play.
Oh, I know
that's the infinite sorrow.
So Streets of Rage 4 is a game that was released. It's a game I've been personally waiting on since 1997 after Streets of Rage 3. This game takes part in, and I'll give you a little brief backstory. So we have Axel, we have Blaze, and we have Adam. They're all the 3 OG main characters of this story that was based in a game, I believe, from 1990 or 1991, Streets of Rage 1. It was a side-scrolling beat-em-up game for the Sega. And as we know, we know me on Switch as Sega Greg. I played a lot of Sega as a child, which led to me being addicted to playing every fucking video game known to man.
Now, your dad was a Sega guy?
My dad was a Sega guy too. He liked his Sega a lot. He was always playing the tank games or the one. Now I think it's called like Apache Helicopter, where he's like fighting a helicopter. He goes and shoots down some stuff and picks up like survivors and takes them home. I've watched that dude play that game for hours. But we're not talking about that.
Was that like Desert Strike or something like that? There was Jungle Strike and Desert Strike.
So that was one of I think the first Streets of Rage I played that was Streets of Rage 2, which was from 1992, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this game where you had Axel, you had Blaze, but you also had 2 new characters, and Max, and you had an Skate. My brother was a big fan of using Skate because he was always on rollerblades, and he knew I was always picking Axel. And he used to be the big muscle guy, which was Max. But so he always found himself picking Skate. I never picked anyone else but Axel. Side-scrolling, beat him up. As usual, you're trying to prevent Mr. X, who I didn't even get into, is basically the main villain from the first game. And so you go fight through all the way to the end to try to beat up him and save your city.
Mr. X is also the villain of the games Kung Fu for the arcade and original Nintendo Entertainment System. Mr. X. There you go.
So Streets of Rage 2 is the same way. Streets of Rage 3 is the only game I haven't beat of the Streets of Rage series.
Because it's hard?
I even been playing on easy with max lives. I still can't beat it. Like it's rough. You get to like the 5th or 6th stage with after fighting the kangaroo. It gets tough. Same story with that. But you have one new character this time. You swap out Max for Zan, which is a robotic old man who's really fucking cool. Except every time he picks up a gun or not a gun, every time he picks up a weapon, it just turns into an orb, and it's like this, and it's really doesn't do as much damage as a baseball bat or a pipe. Even if you pick up a baseball bat or a pipe.
I think
what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I do understand what you're talking about with that. My thing with these, with Streets of Rage and Final Fight to the extent, Double Dragon was that just the it gets monotonous to me real fast, and those even like Golden Axe to an extent, like those beat 'em ups, unless they offer more. And I think when they do them nowadays with the leveling up systems and the gaining experience points, that can keep the replay going, and that's what hooks me. And I think for 4, one of the things I was looking at is for some character upgrades, but I just read the Game Informer review on 4, and they're saying, hey, looks cool, but ultimately repetitive and boring.
Well, this is what they kind of did with as far as trying to make it not seem so repetitive. So they have a little bit of a scoring system. So you be playing the game, and as you keep collecting these coins, you actually unlock characters. Those characters are characters from Streets of Rage 1, so you can get Axel, Blaze, and Adam from Streets of Rage 1. This is where I was leading this all up to.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 2, you can get Axel, Blaze, Skate, and Max. Streets of Rage 3, you get Zan, Axel, Blaze, Skate, and you also get all the Streets of Rage 4 characters, plus the 2 new characters I'm going to get into. But I think that's helps with the replay value of Streets of Rage 4. But now that I basically told you the main goal, minus beating Streets of Rage 4, is what's it about? Because how many times are you going to beat Mr. X? You know what I mean? You beat Mr. X for 3 games. We haven't seen Mr. X in over 12 years. What's next for Streets of Rage? Mr. X has kids. He has twins.
Are you saying after 4?
No, after 3. After 3,
okay.
These are the main villains of 4.
Okay.
Sounds like Mr. X's mark kids. Time on this. This feels like a declaration.
You understand that?
Yeah,
look, I don't have it on me right now, but Streets of Rage is the game that got me into video games. So when I found out there was a Streets of Rage 4 coming on, best believe I can even show you on my phone right now.
I remember you talking about it.
I got 2 copies of it because you can only buy it digitally. My brother and I got 2 copies. Ian got 1 copy. We're just waiting for him to get here because Corona, China.
What system did you get it for? Because I made
PS4 and Switch.
I might get it on Switch.
It on Switch. But
I think it was like
let me get into the Streets of Rage 4 right quick because so you're trying to get through and you have these 2 new guys. One's name's Cherry, who is Adam's daughter, and then you got this new guy Floyd, who's like a little bit of a cyborg Samoan guy. Super cool to add on. It adds a little bit of diversity into the thing, seeing as they took Skate sort of out of the original crew, and they included Adam's daughter and this guy Floyd. So it's cool to go.
Sounds like a pretty deep world.
It
sounds like you're entrenched in the story and the mythos.
I'm obsessed with it. I cannot emphasize if I can ask you guys to get it, I would. It's $30, $30 for a nice side-scrolling being able to play with your friends.
Yeah, I'll buy 2 in case I break one.
You can buy 4, or
you know what I mean.
You can have 4 players playing at one time. It's the first time ever done in any Streets of Rage game. You can only always have 2 people on.
Online.
There's online and offline.
Okay.
There's a battle mode where you can fight your friends and stuff in case one of your friends thinks he's doing better than you on that map. You know what I mean?
I tell you what, I also keep a machine right there for any friends that think they can,
So anyone, any time that if you want to find a nice game that's just going to kill a bit of time, especially for the Switch, and that's why I got it for the Switch, especially because I think that'd be a good game that you can sit down, play a level 2 while you're waiting for a haircut, or
it's easy,
or waiting in a dentist office, and you can just hang out. And even on normal, this game is pretty tough on normal. This is the first game I actually beat on normal first way through. Because when I first bought it on my PC, I said, fuck, I'm going normal because I want to see if I can beat it.
That's one of my biggest things with the Switch. I know everyone loves it. It's like, you can take it places. I like that, but I really don't like playing on the go. I don't like when I play a game like Zelda or Mario, I want to be entrenched in that, entrenched. Entrenched or entrenched? Ask Sadie.
Yeah, she's the Google machine.
Entrenched in the game and the music and the audio, and I want to get into the world. It's hard to do that when you're sitting at Monroe Muffler. You know what I mean? Or hey, the most relaxing place to game at the airport. Get the hell out of here! Anybody ever been to an airport? You're running like a maniac. Well, not now though.
Well,
You
I
know
mean,
get you.
even
You know to
if you
get you to the airport.
no, but I can't say that because if you're sitting there waiting for your plane and it's like a half hour, 45 minutes, you can probably play a couple levels of Streets of Rage 4 in a half hour, 45 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. I think there are certain games, and that was the point I was going to get to was there are certain games that are easier to get into when you're in mobile mode, I guess. You know, where a more simple game like a Tetris works for me when I'm on the road with my Switch, or more simple things. And I think this Streets of Rage, or like even Diablo to an extent, it's you get into that nice easy rhythm of the game, and that's nice where you can quickly pop out of it and still have to be in the real world. You know, whereas in Zelda, you're for lack of a better term, bees deep.
Sure.
You're bees deep in a dungeon. I can't stop now because my car's ready. I tell the guy, you just leave it in the garage,
sure,
and I'm going to finish this level of Zelda.
Fair.
You know what I mean? That's how I get with my gaming on certain occasions. But I think this would be a good mobile, on-the-move type of game.
I can't stress it enough. If you have $30 and you enjoy just little games that are fun to play, that you can play with your friends more than likely.
I'm going to buy physical. I think the physical comes out July 17th.
The physicals are actually already out.
The limited edition, limited run is doing a special edition. Yeah.
Yes. And they
looks like an old Genesis game.
I got two of them.
You break one. And that's why I always buy 2 limited run games, seal one, and then try to sell one.
So limited run games. It was actually 1 week after announcement of the game being released. That's when they stopped the pre-orders. So that's why it was literally limited. That's why I told my brother, I'm like, Ian, if you buy one and I buy 2, we're gonna have some pretty rare copies of games. I'm almost positive that's what it is.
Hold on, let's just let me check the old
We're gonna do a quick fact check, and while you're fact checking, I want to talk about something also for the Switch that's going to be coming out soon that I know a lot of Pokemon people are excited about. And I'm sorry, Josh, I didn't really get to you about Streets of Rage.
I know of them. I never played them because I was also of the mindset that I thought I would get bored with it. I think that maybe I was wrong from everything I've learned here.
I mean,
I'd give it a shot.
I'm not going to say you're not going to get bored of it because once you beat it once and get everyone, you're like, okay, I've done everything I can.
Sure.
But you got your $30 worth out of it.
Yeah, I think for $30, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna, I'm not looking for a life mate with the game. For $34.
Right.
I am with Star Wars Squadron now at $39.
But you're looking for something fun to play. Like I said, I say for Switch. But definitely check it out and always let down in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it for real. But let's get into another Switch game. I tried to switch gears earlier and I fucked it up. We're gonna switch it properly this time. The new Pokemon game coming out was Pokemon Snap. It was a game more common for the N64. I wasn't much of an N64 person at the time.
N64 is a hot topic right now.
It is a very hot topic, and this is where the Pokemon Snap game I know originated. And so it's pretty neat. I know I'm not probably too into it myself, but I know a lot of Pokemon fanatics out there are probably scratching and clawing for this game. I know a lot of people when this game was released on Facebook, I know went bonkers. But what are you guys' thoughts?
I don't know, but I also don't. I'm also smart of a businessman to not underestimate the power of the Pokemon. I don't understand why people buy 2 of the same game, as we discussed in previous episodes, like yourself. I know this much. I could take a crap in a box. And you know where I'm going with this. Mm-hmm. Slap a Pokemon label on this thing, and it will sell.
It will.
Give it some kind of app to connect to your phone. Kids love that kind of crap. So of course a Switch game, Pokemon, it's right up at the alley. It's a safe bet when Grandma Juniper's there buying games for the kids for Christmas. She's gonna pick. Oh, that's that Pokemon they want, and she's gonna grab that. And boom, she's out the door. Whether it's the right one or not, And so that's
and you'll get a return about 2 or 3 days later.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know what? I mean, license to print Pokemon. I mean, that's license to print money.
What do you think about Pokemon Snap, Josh?
I think that I used to love everything about it. But Pokemon got ruined for me in 1999 when
you stole the foil packs.
No. When an older kid on the main streets of the patch beat me with a fake with a fake holographic Charizard card.
Oh.
And that was it.
What was his name? How'd he beat you?
I didn't know. I was stupid. I was 9.
I thought you meant you fight you.
He traded me for like a lot of my cards. This thing was like a sticker. And after that,
it was a sticker. Oh, dude, those fucking things were stupid.
My dad was ashamed, and I couldn't.
So as a kid during that time, I remember seeing those stickers. I was like, "The fuck is this fake ass Pokemon card?"
Yeah, dude. You could have called and told me, but I didn't know.
I know.
That was the first one I ever saw. I thought it was the new cool thing,
Yeah, I don't know anything about a pack of Pokemon cards.
Well, I will say
I got beat on the streets for one.
My favorite Pokemon card I collected, since we're getting on the topic about Pokemon cards, holographic Machamp. Favorite card I ever collected. I wish I still had it. I actually lost it recently.
Boy, this sounds like a bunch of glip glorp to me. A glip glorp alert.
Yo, if you've seen Hitmonchan, so one more thing about the Switch. Apex Legends coming to the Switch. I know a lot of multiplayer battle royale freaks are out there.
Let me tell you to make Apex Switch a lot better. Put the fucking Titans back in the fucking world. End of discussion. Next game.
Couldn't agree more with that.
I like Apex Legends.
I liked Apex Legends if it was called Titanfall 3.
I'm not so much going to be playing it for the Switch, but I know that there's a cry for it out there. So if you guys don't know Apex Legends on the Switch, go check it out. Go get it now. It's free.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, listen, free. Can't pass free up.
Yeah,
you want to get into our next topic, JT?
What's the next topic?
Whatever you want it to be, my guy. We got a couple to choose from. Let me know what you think.
Well, listen, I want to dig into a game I'm really as excited about is Marvel Avengers. Okay. And the only reason being is I love I love action RPGs. I love the Ultimate Alliance games. Back in my day, we called them X-Men Legends for you kids out there. Okay, when you're playing Ultimate Alliance 3, I'm actually playing the 5th game in the series in my head. All right,
that sounds like
that's definitely some old man talk. But I can't wait to play with these upgraded graphics. And I know you said Tony Stark doesn't look like, but that's the thing. Your whole entire life, Tony Stark has been Robert Downey Jr. He hasn't for my life, so he is definitely a portrayal of Tony Stark. But my visions of Stark go way back further than that. So I don't have like a devotion. I don't need to see Chris Evans. I love Chris Evans as Captain America. I think he did a great job, but I don't need it to enjoy this game. I mean, the Ultimate Alliance, they look like cartoons right out of the comic books. So I think
that's Marvel Ultimate Alliance's gimmick, though.
Yeah, but I think you're going to look at a character. If you look at a character like Miss Marvel, I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with her because you haven't seen her yet in a movie or on TV. So I think that'll be cool. I don't think anybody's going to judge like the newer characters. And then if they the biggest thing about this game is single player campaign, but then the end game of everything is co-op missions with your friends and building groups of superheroes and grinding. And they said they're going to release new missions and new characters for 2 years after for free. And that's what really hooks me. So I'm not really too tuned. I don't really care. Give me some semblance of a guy with a mustache with dark hair and you got a Tony Stark for me. He's got to have swagger and attitude. And Robert Downey Jr. was just that's a tribute to that man's damn acting abilities. That where he can cement himself. But if I was younger, yeah, but not for me yet. So I can still enjoy that and go, okay, cool. There's a cool new interpretation of Tony Stark. All right. And if I don't like it, I don't like it. I can enjoy this game. Look, Greg, it's okay, buddy. Look in my eyes. Put your hand in my hand on the screen right now, buddy. Hold my hand, metaphorically. All right, listen. You can like Tony Stark and Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. and still like this Avengers game. It's okay. You can do that. All right.
I think we did it at the same time too. That was perfect.
Yeah, you can.
Josh, I want you to actually shed light on this first, and I'm not. You know what? You actually might have made me take my hot take away, but I want to hear what Josh has to say to persuade me into completely going a complete 180 on this game.
You're asking him to have a diametric opinion opposed to mine, and I don't know if that's.
Listen, I don't know. I'm going to tell you this.
Opinions.
I'm not going to apologize for wanting Iron Man to look like the most handsome man in the world. I'm not even going to apologize for that.
Facts.
Right? Yeah. But outside of that, I'm going to get this game because it's fun, and I'm gonna grind it, and I'm gonna be on a good team, and we're gonna be at a high level, and we're gonna get to pretend that we're a superhero squad.
You hear me and Adam playing Ultimate Alliance, so we have a blast.
I mean, in whatever video games is supposed to be, that's one of the things.
Yeah.
So this is my thing, and I'd like, and you guys definitely almost made me go 180. I'm not gonna bullshit. You guys almost had me going to 180.
How far we get though? 179.
You're about maybe 179. Yeah. So my thing about it is, the Avengers is not just Tony Stark, Iron Man, or we'll say it by their actual names: Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, like the people you see in the movie, basically.
Yeah.
So what irks me is, the Avengers are so big, and I feel like we're only going to get Thor, Black Widow.
No. No, here's the thing.
Like, I want X-Men in there. I want Punisher in there, because Punisher's somewhat a part of the Avengers in a sense.
He's not, and he's in another world. But my point being is that the characters, the familiar characters and the famous characters, got to get the sale. You got to put them on the cover of the game, and that's going to get your average fan. But then they said they're going to highlight characters like Ms. Marvel, who's not been in the movies. I'm not talking about Captain Marvel or what she was before. I'm talking about, I don't know her name, but she's an Inhuman. Her hands get big. I believe she's the first. Is she the first Indian or Islam? I don't want to be ignorant to what it is, but she's a very important character. And the only way I was exposed to her is through Ultimate Alliance. Okay. So they're saying, like, we're going to really push this next gen of Marvel people, because that only helps the movies too. That's where they're going. So I think highlighting characters like that, where we don't have those preset examples, is going to be where their DLC goes. So I think Tony Stark and the gang is going to lead us off, but then they're going to go with the newer characters and directions. They're going to get us hooked with those, But
what about Spider-Man?
The thing is about, if you want to say, you can't have your dream. Well, that's just being a dream team lineup. There's rarely an Avengers lineup that had every single Avenger that you loved in that lineup. Okay,
well, let's say a cameo appearance, maybe.
No, you don't need it. You have. I would rather see new characters highlighted instead of Spider-Man. Give me Gwen Stacy or Miles at this point. Like, let's move on. And that's just me, and maybe because I'm worn out, because I've been listening to and reading the same Spider-Man stories for 40 years. I'm ready for something different, and I embrace those different things. So I think having Tony and Cap there legitimizes it as an Avengers game. Wink, wink. We'll be the powerful characters, but then just branching off and giving this spotlight to these other characters is what I'm excited for.
So I'm gonna give you guys an idea. Okay, let's say they scratch this Avengers game. I'm just hypothetically, just kind of like we did with picking the bones of WWE. Let's say they scratch this Avengers game. Do you think it'd be better if they did a Civil War game between Iron Man and Captain America, where you can incorporate a lot and you can do some story transitions, kind of like Mortal Kombat in a sense? Because you know how in Mortal Kombat they kind of go like person to person to person to person to person throughout their story, and do like maybe 4 or 5 missions of that character before they go on. And you pick, like, let's say you pick a side, and then there's a story for that side that goes into the whole idea of the Iron Man one.
Did you hear that bump when I bumped that? No. Can I move this without it making noise? Can you hear that?
No, I can't.
I like that. Greg, Ultimate Alliance 2 is exactly what you're describing. If you want me to cut all this out.
Oh, really?
You literally pick a side in the Civil War.
As far as like a PS4 version, though.
Well, it's on PS4. You can digitally get it, and it's great, man. And you have to pick Captain America or Iron Man, and it's heartbreaking to go through the story.
What it sounds like is Greg gave himself that last 1%.
So what I'm saying is, Greg, here's what I want you to do.
I might have to buy that instead.
I would want you to look into these games, and if you're an old retro guy, start at X-Men Legends 1.
That's a good one. That's a very good game,
actually. Then play 2. Age of Apocalypse or Rise of Apocalypse. I
didn't play that one. I think that was right after I got my PS2.
Then you play Ultimate Alliance 1, because that's technically the third game.
So it's like there's like an ongoing story.
Yeah,
I think it's just being someone who didn't enjoy really the Marvel Ultimate. Well, I enjoyed the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games if I was with people. When I'm playing it by myself, it's boring.
And see, that's my thing about Streets of Rage. That's why I couldn't see myself just sitting here being in the zone with that, because that's get everybody together and let's have fun. Mm-hmm. It's like Castle Crashers on the Xbox. Remember
that was a good one. I like playing out Friends.
But let's roll. Since you brought up Fantasyland, you know the rules, and you owe the dice.
I owe the dice.
Greg, pick between 1 and 10. You buy Avengers, and 11 through 20, you don't. And we're going to roll and tell the truth right here on the show right now.
You know what? I'm actually 100% okay with that.
That's the truest 4 I've ever seen.
It dropped on it, so you don't have to do shit. I don't know. What did we say?
We said buy.
It was 1 through 10. It wasn't buy.
I'm going to tell you what. If you buy it on PS4 and you play with me and my friends, you're going to have a great time. Your cheeks will hurt when you're done laughing.
For sure.
And at the end of the day, we accomplished so much, and it's all about the loot and laughing and having a great time.
This is the thing. I would love to do that, but you still haven't added me yet.
Here's the thing.
Well, listen,
the dice said 4. So.
I don't know if you have a choice. And we got to see about getting you on the friends list. A big list. It's a line. There's a wait list.
Listen, it took me years to get on that list.
Because I go, what do you play?
Years to get on that list.
You know? And sometimes I just want to snoop on people. And I need to know what you're playing. And we'll never play together, but I like to snoop. That's what I do. So that's pretty much it as far as news and gaming that I have. What did you have?
That's about all I got. I was actually going to start talking about a little bit of the AEW stuff going on. A little bit AEW and WWE. And I shared this last week on our AJW podcast. And if you guys have listened, it's kind of spiraled a little bit more out of control. Sammy Guevara went out and I guess made some rape allegations against Sasha Banks. And this was 4 years ago that they're starting to just now pick up and criticize the guy for. I mean, not saying that it's right, but it's 4 years ago, and the guy has been with the same girl for at least 3. So it's like it's hard for me to speak out again. Like, okay, I get it, Sammy. That was a pretty stupid thing to say 4 years ago, but in the same retrospect, it was 4 years ago.
Well, I think no matter what, I think you have to look at this case by case basis. But I think it's like
also,
how much do you want someone to steal off you? If they just steal $10, are you still mad? Now, if they steal $5 million, then are you mad? I guess you got. I think the kind of speak that and you know what, Sammy's young. We can't. Every accomplishment
he's like maybe 20
you've made with Sammy. And for those of you who don't know, Sammy. There's video of him 4 years ago. He's amongst his peers or friends. He was privately videoed. Did he know he was being videoed?
I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know that either.
Yeah,
but I know this much. You guys are the technology kings, this generation. If you're that fucking stupid to say some shit around some people that might be recording you, A, you have bad fucking friends. C, all right. C, congrats, kid. All your hard work, you may have just shit it down the drain. So I don't know what to tell you at this point. I don't know how I feel, and I haven't watched the video, but I know this much. Be smarter than that.
I don't watch the video at all, but go ahead, Josh.
And no, is he literally sexually assaulting someone in this? No. But I think this speak, it's got to go too.
Sure, absolutely. And,
go ahead, Josh.
And just to clear up what happened, they were talking about the look of Sasha Banks during this time, and he said that he wanted to just go over there and rape her. So he is definitely under fire for words and not his actions. It's important to make that distinction if we talk about this more, because some people being charged with sexual assault. That's not what he's doing. This audio was just released of him saying that.
Yeah.
I think that it's fair to say that if everyone was held accountable for stupid things they said when they were young, we'd all be.
I'd be.
Here's the thing: I have literally watched matches with Sasha Banks and made comments like, "Oh wow, look at that!"
Well, I mean,
because when you're with guys, that's what guys do. And I'm not saying that maybe we only just to be as sensitive, and instead of canceling ourselves, with this cancel culture, it's okay to say, you know what, I used to do those things, and maybe it's not the right thing to do now. Right. But I have literally watched her and Charlotte Flair, and I've watched her butt cheek pop out of her pants and go, look at now. I think here's the line with a rational human being like me and most of the people I hang out with. If any of my friends would be like, damn, Jay, boy, I'd like to rape her. We all go, Jesus Christ. I mean, you can say I'd like to grab her butt. Yeah. You can say, but who the fuck kids around about that?
Well, you also got to
check yourself and your surroundings every day.
Absolutely.
You got to take in consideration that Sammy he's not even over the age of 26.
Sure.
So, I mean, like, I could, like you even said earlier, Josh, if we could all be accountable for something we said younger, we'd all be in, like, I would probably be in prison for life with all the stupid shit I've said, because I just make stupid comments just to make stupid comments.
And I think it's important to add on to that also that we can all admit that we've done stupid things and said stupid things. Easily. But I've never joked about the want to rape a woman.
Yeah, so that's a lot of funny shit to talk about other than that.
Regardless of how old you are, I don't know if we should ever say those things. And I think that it's fair to call that bad. And I think it's fair for him to apologize from that and say that I'm older now and I've learned. And then I think it's fair to move on from that whenever the time is fit. But
like I said, he's been.
Well, it's easier to say.
He vlogs it all the time about being with Pam. Pam's to me seems like a really cool chick. Sammy to me seems to be like a down to earth kind of guy on camera. I don't know what he is personally like off camera. I will say I don't agree with him being suspended. Maybe a little bit of a fine, but I don't believe he should be suspended.
Well, here's the thing. You have to. Here's the thing. Until you investigate everything, the best HR and business practice. NXT Consulting. We will make you better, and you'll fucking hate us for it. And then you hate me and call me names. That's my business motto. I make a lot of money with it, though. The thing is that you always want, in any kind of situation like this, and especially in the entertainment industry, they're going home, and it's without pay until it's investigated. And then, then you settle up with them whether, if they can come back to work, then you'll give them back pay. But a scenario like this, the company has zero. And I don't know if anybody's just watching or tuning in right now, but I think Tony Khan has, from the fucking beginning, made a culture of inclusivity. AEW is for everybody. Yes. Fucking, hey, we find out Hulk Hogan, fuck you. You and your crazy wife can't be involved with this because you made some comments. I mean, so this does not fly in AEW, and you couldn't have a company in 2020 where you could turn a blind eye to comments made. I don't give a shit if it was 20. Now the kid, he's young. But in the same breath, we can't say every time he does a somersault, boy, he's amazing for his age, without also saying he made some fucking mistakes. I think it's fair to say for his age, but I'm also a white male in 40s. I don't know if I'm allowed to like Sammy going forward. If he does his sensitivity training and I want to like him, I don't know if I face the wrath of, of everybody else saying, well, I'm a terrible fucking person, because that's what it's, and I know believe me, and I know right now, hashtag fucking white people problems. I fucking get it, but you have to watch what you say. So I don't know. How do we feel in a year when Sammy does his sensitivity training and wants back on the roster and asks for forgiveness? I don't know.
I would hope to give it to him because he is a young and upcoming, and he is Le Sex Gods. One of half of Le Sex Gods.
I think I called Jericho cuts ties with him.
Yeah, I think he was, and I think that it was.
I think Jericho, you're fucking done with. With old Chris Jericho.
I think it was the right move to suspend him, because I think the company has to take a stance on who Sammy Guevara is as a person. I mean, that's who they sell, and they've got to make a declaration, that this isn't okay, and I think he had to be.
But my thing about though is it's more like you even said earlier. It's more words than action. Like he didn't go out. Sure. He didn't do what Jimmy Havoc apparently has did.
Sure, fair.
And I'm 100% like I want Jimmy Havoc to get taken care of because I know he's a fantastic wrestler. Whatever demons he's got going on, dude, try to beat him because I need to see you on this program because you're gonna make a difference. You're gonna expose yourself. You're gonna expose British hardcore wrestling. Is what I think of when I think.
My ship has sailed with with Jimmy Havoc, unfortunately.
But Yeah, I understand
my ship
that.
sails with ever wanting you to see anything ever accomplished once you rape. I think once you become or raper of a person and or thing, I have to hope that you die. And that sucks because I love Jimmy Havoc and it's fucking heartbreaking. But then I have to also remember I wasn't the fucking girl getting the cock crammed in her.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you want to be real? Let's be fucking real on this fucking podcast.
I mean,
you want me to fucking bleep it out? I'll bleep it out.
No, keep it in there because that's authentic.
Because I want to know how her dad feels. Because I guarantee this much: he's not looking forward to the future of
having to see him again.
Hardcore. He wants Jimmy Havoc to fucking die.
And now that you said that, I actually am on.
Right? You have to.
That you straight up 180'd me. Like I love
it's heartbreaking.
Dude, it is going to be hard to see that.
I want Jim. Listen. A week ago, I wanted the best for Jimmy. You know who I feel bad for besides the victim or victims, because you know the more he'll tell us the story. He's been really looking into all this because he likes this stuff. Now, listen, this guy knows the news. This is where I get, and I'll credit him to this much. For the last 2 or 3, 4 years of people seeing me on the internet and seeing my character, this is the co-writer for a lot of that. You know, a lot of the things I say and I feel, he's behind the scenes pulling those strings. All the bad shit I do comes from him. But so first, before we get into anything with Jimmy Havoc and this and that and stages of it, I think it sucks because I feel sorry for her. I feel sorry for Kip fucking Sabian, who. Now I'm the tag team of the rapist guy. Yeah. Reset, had some heat too, on a roll. Yeah. You know what I mean? So fuck him and everybody he hurt, and fuck him because Matt Hardy's right. AEW is a sacred ground to be protected. And fuck you if you want to associate us with rapey shit. And Sammy, if you don't get it now, I hope you get it because one day if we're going to say you're going to be Chris Jericho and the jury's out on you, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to personally feel about you. I don't know. Yeah. Because I tell if it was my daughter and you were saying you were going to rape her, I'm going to hate you forever. That's Snoop Dogg's cousin. Don't fucking think Snoop Dogg can't get you. Don't think Snoop Dogg can't get somebody. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Fucking shit, man. But nah, Jimmy Havoc, go fuck yourself. Who else? Now you with Havoc, tell us the difference. Sammy made some comments.
Yeah, Havoc was accused of sexual assault. He was accused of rape by an ex-girlfriend. She claimed that she was abused, that he was possessive of her, that he did all of the things that a abusive boyfriend would do. So she is adamant about it. Apparently, she has some proof that she hasn't released, or she has to certain people. I'm not 100% sure. That story's still unfolding, actually. But it is a serious accusation, and right now it looks like he is guilty, and I think
that's the thing. I also want to make sure that, you know what I mean, I preface everything with him being guilty, but I think in the scenarios like this, boy, I'm as soon as someone says it, we got to look at you because we have to protect ourselves.
Exactly. And you know, it's just like, and I'm gonna do this. So like I older man showing his kid wrestling Showtimes, be like, oh, don't bother with him. That's a rapist. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that to be on your conscience as a book.
Here's the thing. I'm paying you. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm paying you to be your own brand. You all come from a world where you bitch that Vince wants to shove a brand down your throat and he's going to dictate the life of your character. And us pro wrestling believers out there understand that there's a thin line between person and character when done truly right.
I agree.
It's why Chris Jericho is a genius and can come in and out of character and take us with it. He can hug Aubrey on his podcast and have a great time with her, and then they can show each other going at it because look how good we work together.
Challenge flags and shit.
Yeah, I mean, so until you got to remember it's a line, and I can't invest in Sammy Guevara merchandise and all this shit and the smudge. It took 20-some years for the majority of the people to either A, forget or slowly forgive Mike Tyson. Now he's a comedy act, but don't think Mike still can't show up right here and punch me in the mouth. So I ain't saying never bad thing about that sweet man. Yeah. But let's just not forget that, Sasha knows Snoop Dogg. That's a cousin. So
let's hope nothing, as far as like his career going down the drain, as far as Sammy is like too bad. I mean, it's not gonna be the way it was before this all happened, but let's hope that something better happens of it.
Yes, and I think you can turn. Listen, it's an opportunity to set a precedence, and really, it was a great opportunity for that company to grow quick. And exactly. I loved it. Not how it happened. I loved the response, and I think it was great.
How they responded.
Now that fucking dinghy, that guy that wants you to touch his fucking dinghy in H match. Joey Ryan, I've always looked like, even when he had that spectacular run with Hangman, I always thought about this. I'm very suspicious of, we're going to wrestle, but dude, I got this move where you got to touch my wiener. And you go, don't make me do that move. Hangman Page, listen, he didn't want that move done.
Yep, fact.
Did not want that move. I'm not comfortable with this.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You know, men cannot be uncomfortable with things. I don't know, right? I don't know. But I don't want you touching my wiener. I don't want to touch your wiener, Josh. No scenario do I want that.
Now, in the sake of Joey Ryan, if Joey Ryan told me I had to do like a dong flip, I'm probably going to say yes, because I think that's fucking hilarious.
Oh, I think it was hilarious at the time, yes, until he came out to be a pervert.
That's true.
I
forgot Joey
Ryan.
Boy,
the dick. Hey, listen, Bill Cosby is a funny man.
What?
All right,
maybe.
But is he now? Boy, I laughed the shit out of his records when I was little. When he said, I remember something we cracked up when there was some kind of punchline about Superman and the big red S, and he meant his ass, and I thought it was the best joke ever when I was little.
Yeah.
He's a pervert now, so he's no longer funny, and he's no longer funny. In anything, and that's just how I feel. People can say Chris Benoit was a great wrestler. I say, fuck him. I say there's certain transgressions with me where I write you off.
Rape and murder being a fair.
Not Mike Tyson. Josh said that about Mike Tyson, not me.
One bad thing about that. I'd have been his ear too.
Easily.
Listen, I can't wait to bite a motherfucker in a fight.
So we're getting a little bit off topic here, and you did shout out the name Chris Jericho a lot. Chris Jericho. So it made me think to myself, who's the GOAT of professional wrestling? Is it Chris Jericho, or is it somebody that we don't know of? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to JT first, and I want your GOAT of professional wrestling, and I want you to give me a reason why.
Right now?
Right now?
Or of all time?
All time.
Well, I think that is a question that I think that as a wrestling fan, you have to probably ask yourself every year as the business changes and gets better. I think you have to think of all those things in their period-specific times. You can't judge a Ric Flair in an Attitude Era, but you can judge Ric Flair in his best eras, you know. And I feel that's what you can't judge Undertaker on these final some matches, but you can judge him for his best. So that'll change. And we've talked about this before. It was always Hulk Hogan for me. It was all. And then he turned out to be a fucking racist. And I go, from my childhood, you know what I mean? I go, okay. But I think Chris Jericho right now for the money will, before it's said and done, he will be considered one of the greatest pro wrestling performers and a man of many hats. It's not like he sucks at a rock band either. It's not like his music's fucking good. It's not like his podcast is just kind of there. No, it's good. Everything Chris touches, it's good. And that's why also I think he's done with Sammy. I think that's it. Your Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara skits together are over. Today, you just deleted your career, kid.
I like that.
Matt Hardy has been warning him for weeks.
So what about you, Josh? Who's your GOAT of wrestling and why?
I'll tell you this. That I've always answered this question in two parts. All right? Just like I have who's the best baseball player of all time. All right, I'll tell you this. The Chris Jericho, when it's all said and done.
What am I going to do? Is this going to be a long story?
No, listen.
I want to hear it. Come on.
Chris Jericho will go down as the greatest wrestler of all time. Fact. And he is every promotion across the board. There's nothing he hasn't done. He is the epitome of success. He is the greatest wrestler of all time. The most important wrestler of all time, and maybe we don't need to get into this right now, is the Iron Sheik.
Okay? Very much so.
We don't have to talk about that yet.
No, we'll get into that after the segment.
But I'll just tell you that Hogan was great. But that's because the Sheik was great first.
Mm-hmm. You got to have a great bad guy to have a great good guy.
Always.
That's the truth. Always. That's the truth. And not only pro wrestling and storytelling as well.
So the Iron Sheik is the most important of all time. Chris Jericho will end as the greatest player of all time.
I do like that Iron Sheik throw in there because no one I think appreciates Iron Sheik. I do.
I agree, 100%.
And he also has the greatest Twitter handle.
I would teach you.
He didn't teach me.
What'd you listen? Oh, I was listening to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash over here. He listened to a Scott Hall and Kevin Nash podcast once or twice. He thinks he's an insider now. You know what I mean? He was one time. He's like, you know what? What's that contract you get all the time? And favorite nations. He's like, you know what favorite nations?
If you have a chance to go ahead and follow the Iron Sheik on Twitter, do it.
He's crazy.
He sends. No, he's crazy, but he sends some of the funniest shit on his Twitter. So like, I appreciate the throw in Iron Sheik, but my go to wrestling is the Undertaker. Wow. This guy's been doing it for however many years. If it wasn't for WWE, and they even said this, and I know neither one of you guys watched the documentary, Vince McMahon can't comment on what the Undertaker means to WWE because realistically, if there wasn't no Undertaker, there was probably no WWE because there was no 90s. They weren't having feuding with Bret Hart whenever that whole shit was going down and Shawn Michaels and all that whatnot. And then there's the Attitude Era with the whole cross thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was and it still scares me. It still scares me. I
was in college at the time, so that didn't scare me, but I get it.
I was a little younger. The casket matches, the gimmick matches the Undertaker had, the Hell's Gate, the Tombstone Pile Driver, the Chokeslam. It's all legendary.
I'll tell you this.
So as much as I do agree with Josh that Chris Jericho could be the greatest wrestler of all time, but everyone is going to be sleeping on the Undertaker, who has been that backstage guy, who's been the most loyal guy in all of professional wrestling. And if you think about it, minus Jericho, he's probably the most popular.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take a spin at this.
Yeah, listen, he's good though. He's good.
Well, I'll take a spin. Wrong. I'm going to play devil's advocate from a entertainment view, and I've seen the man's career from the time he showed up. All right.
Well, that's Survivor Series 1996, I think it was.
No, Brother Love's show.
Oh no.
But I'm talking
Brother Love brought him first, and then Ted DiBiase. And then it was a rewriting kind of Ted DiBiase claim. Well, Ted DiBiase unveiled him on Brother Love. Then later on, the fake Undertaker on the Heartbreak Hotel. So I've seen the man come and go, and I've seen a lot of people come and go. Did he stand out? Yes. Here's where you don't get extra points in my book. All right, being he's so loyal. Some of my favorite entertainers weren't loyal. I value loyalty like nothing. So I don't give a shit if you're the biggest ass kiss next to Bret Hart,
that might be where we just
So loyalty,
I'm all for loyalty.
Loyalty means nothing to me. I'm out for the biggest. Listen, loyalty is a great trait to have, but in business, I don't think so. I think it's you always got to be out for the next biggest thing, or you're going to fall asleep yourself. You'll end up being someone's workhorse like The Undertaker was. Whereas I see an Undertaker in a WCW Wars, he should have fucking jumped ship. And I believe that's why the Biker Taker gimmick was, because he couldn't take that magic shit with him. And this is shit that Kevin Nash has said 100 times. Yeah. And I believe that because I think Undertaker went there, and the same thing. Shawn Michaels never went anywhere. You know what I mean? He's loyal. There's still motherfucking, Road Dogg. You're going to fucking die there.
But no, because Road Dogg went to TNA.
Everybody leaves their precious Vince once because Vince is a dick.
Except Taker.
You can't say Road Dogg's loyal if he goes.
Yeah, but I don't think. Here's when I stopped being interested in Undertaker. When
Goldberg, when he fought Goldberg.
Oh God, that was
when I saw an old man. And you guys still saw Taker in his prime wrestling fucking Triple H WrestleMania, man. No, Jesus. My prime Undertaker was doing terrible matches with Giant Gonzalez
and wearing
purple gloves. That's prime Taker. And so you gotta I don't feel that mysticism about him. And then I feel that what the biggest botch of his career was not retiring after Brock breaking the streak. Agreed. I think that was just. It went out on such a note that, listen, Vince McMahon, the whole WWF and Triple H and whoever the fuck their bookers are and all their businessmen, you got lucky a few times and it made you trillions. But you were definitely lucky more times than you were geniusly creative. I will say that. And the fucking
now.
The reason why the well is run dry because the fucking luck has gone. You've watered it down. too much that it's beyond comparison. You took your nice ranch flavored dressing and it's watered down to where any old billionaire can just spring up. This is how secure Vince McMahon's business is. Any billionaire with a couple of fucking wrestlers that ain't saying nothing different than traditional pro wrestling and pushing those limits can't pop up and take immediately a chunk out of your business. That's bad business on WWE.
Very bad business. And WWE.
So they sunk their own battle. Undertaker's a big dummy for not leaving there. So he should have went with Hogan and all them to WCW. He would have been a megastar like them. Because at the end of the day, Scott Hall is still better than the Undertaker. Kevin fucking Nash, in my opinion, entertained me more than the Undertaker. All right, and people can make fun of Kevin Nash being lazy. No one ever says Scott Hall is lazy.
The thing is, you know my take on Scott Hall because you know how much.
Exactly. Scott Hall, not loyal. Your favorite wrestler in the world, not loyal.
Yeah, true. I'll just say this.
I'm just saying, I appreciate the loyalty.
I'll say this about the Undertaker. The reason he's always going to be cool to us is because the first time I saw the Undertaker was in the mid-'90s at the Civic Arena with my dad, when Bob Backlund was on his second run.
Okay. And that's when I first saw the Undertaker live.
Yes. And that was mid-'90s. I was probably 8 years old, too young to know that this wasn't a real thing.
Now I was 16 when I first saw the Undertaker.
I was 7 or 8. When that man came out, he scared me so bad that I wanted to leave the arena. Yeah. And then immediately became my favorite. And he's been like that ever since. But you wouldn't have had that reaction at 16.
No, but hold on. When the Undertaker first appeared and he tombstoned Hulk Hogan on a fucking chair, I remember Hulkamania officially, that's when it never recovered from me. Like, it never kind of got back up and running after that. And I remember kids slightly younger than where mine was, and I know some of them probably, Carl probably cried. You know Carl cried. Yeah. You know Adam cried.
It was a lot.
I know my cousin Haley was into it when Andre ripped that chain. She showed me in a magazine once. I know she was serious. But my point being...
You know, when I rewatched that, I was like, wow, I can't believe that actually happened.
But my point being is the kids younger than me were crying and bawling their eyes out, and he scared the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And when he would sneak out of the tomb, out of his casket on his, they had a show back then, the funeral parlor, and Paul Bear was the host. Yeah. No matter who was on there, the Undertaker would come out and kill you. And he walked slow, and he was like a big
because he's just standing there. Eyes, he doesn't even blink. He's just standing there and he's looking right into your soul like he's about to fuck you up.
Yeah, and I didn't buy in then to the magic.
Because
I was like, listen, if he beats Jake the Snake, this sucks. Because that snake's scarier than this dead guy.
Yeah.
Unless we're saying zombies are real. And I remember my brain going, what are we trying to say here?
So some of my stuff with The Undertaker, my dad used to always say he was The Undertaker when I was a kid. So that used to always freak me out because he'd roll his eyes in the back of his head. And he always had long hair and a beard. So I was like, fuck.
Wait a minute.
I was a little scared of my dad.
That sounds terrifying. Wait a minute.
It was scary.
Your dad scared you?
My dad, he's the reason I watch scary movies.
Greg, lay down on your couch behind us and let's really discuss this situation with your dad. Let's stop. Yeah, how does that make you feel? Well, it started.
It all started whenever I started watching professional wrestling. It was a Razor Ramon. All right.
And then a month later, he jumped to WCW. You went, what happened? Well, then he became. Listen, Razor Ramon was cool, but Scott Hall is legend.
I hate Razor Ramon, but I love Scott Hall. Yeah, I agree.
I loved them both. I loved Razor before I could understand what a Scott Hall was, and then I loved that even more because it was what I liked about Razor.
Well, here's the thing: I knew Scott Hall before I knew Razor Ramon because he was already gone when I was. Remember, then I always thought the accent was weird. I didn't get it.
Yeah, looking back, it's kind of hokey.
Yeah,
and maybe racist.
I'd say 100% both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And stolen from not to mention trademarkly infringing on Scarface as his own admission from Scott Hall.
That's true.
So but anyway, I believe we got way off topic. But you know what? That's exactly what my notes said. Drive down a dirt road this podcast.
Just follow the rabbit.
Let's drive down. Before I talk about anything.
Well, hold on. I want to say one more thing about
we ended wrestling on a high note with this Undertaker. You guys love him. I hate him.
I still got some stuff to say about The Undertaker.
Okay.
I wasn't done. We started doing that little skit there, and I just kind of went off course.
I hope he's paying us for
But
this because you know how much money I got from you. I'm taking the fucking mail. Nothing. Plugs over, kid.
well, whatever.
Move
Long
on.
story short, my favorite match in WWE is 1998. That was in Pittsburgh. Mankind versus The Undertaker. This is the one that Mankind got thrown off the top, and I didn't know it was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, man. I thought he was dead.
Everyone thought he was dead. Like it was just the idea that this guy, he's the first guy to drive fear into you as a wrestler, minus Iron Sheik.
Let me tell you about me in 1998.
I was really afraid of him. That's what I'm saying.
I never missed. There was a point where we never missed an
Sheik.
event in WWE, and if a pay-per-view came to or Pittsburgh, if a pay-per-view came, we were going. In 98, I was so fucking WCW that I wouldn't even care to go to a Pittsburgh show. Like, I wouldn't even care. Like, I didn't care. Like, SummerSlam was there. I went to SummerSlam in 95. 94, 95, SummerSlam was in Pittsburgh, and I went to that. And then I know it came back in 98, but I just was like, I don't give a shit.
Well, we did.
Because I didn't like Stone Cold either during that whole era, you know. Like, I appreciate it now, and I appreciate the storylines as a grown-up. Didn't then, though.
So we touched on a good bit of wrestling. We actually talked about 2 wrestling topics longer than we talked about majority of our video game topics today. I feel pretty good about that.
But ending positively on The Undertaker. Listen, I was entertained a long time by The Undertaker. I just feel that the ride went on 10 more years than it should have.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
And he even says, and I know you haven't seen this yet, he should have retired after Shawn's retirement match. He said that should have been his last match.
And I think the streak needed to be broken before he left.
And I think that's what led in, because if you think about it, after that was the 2 Triple H matches, and then it was the Brock Lesnar ends the streak match.
Yeah, and I think, like, you know, and I'm not above the people, the streaks are meant to be broken. That's when you make the most business from the streaks. And I think that would have been a great time, and it legitimized. And it's one of the things that we've talked about because we were like, holy shit.
I know, I was sad.
For the last 15 years, people wrote off the Undertaker matches once the whole streak thing starts because, you know, that's when Vince would just and he still does. That's the fucking problem with it. It's the same. If you don't like it, boy, you're getting a lot of it. He's just out to make everyone like eat his shit.
Vince is
just a billionaire that just wants now to pay people just to eat shit. And how much shit are you gonna basically?
He's a corporate troll. That's literally what I think. Like if he knows something's bad and he knows no one likes it, he will put it out there because it pisses people off. But he doesn't know that
I'm not going to say that that's definitely perceived. That's what I think. That's what his audience perceives, and I think
very much so.
I think he likes that speak around it.
As an audience member, I find him to be a corporate troll. That's how I see him. I mean, I can't specify anymore. If you think about it, the dude does nothing but put out shit product time in and time out and thinks it's fucking fantastic. It's not, Vince. It's not. You're losing people who've been watching your shit.
I agree.
Yeah, you're losing the people who are watching your shit.
That's why you have to doubly support.
And now all of a sudden you're gonna just do surprise roll-ups and disqualifications? Like, how the fuck is a fan of?
Listen, kid, I checked out way before people were pissed off at surprise roll-ups. I've been checked out of WWE so fucking long.
It just blows my mind. I'm over it. Like, dude,
turn it off. The best thing you can do is turn it off and not click on WWE videos. But the same guys that you know, you're giving it the heat, and that's the heat that lives this thing. Watching fucking What Culture, one up and down WWE helps WWE.
Exactly.
Bury the prick.
But Triple H knows what the fuck he's doing with NXT. That's why NXT is flourishing while the main roster obviously is going through a downward spiral into a toilet of
Triple H is not anything on NXT now. Yeah, Triple H is not in charge of anything. What does he do now? He's some kind of overseas media, some kind of bullshit position. He has no position.
He just got his role just changed.
Yeah, he's out.
I didn't know.
I don't know what he's doing, but his role definitely changed.
That's actually really fucked up because he was putting some of the best storylines on NXT.
Hey, you know what? Whatever. You know, sorry. I mean, you have the best. You have the best talent that money could buy in the world. You literally have your creme de la creme, your pick of people you could have. And you don't need the Kenny Omegas and the Bucks. You didn't need him. Vince could have a fucking superior product right now with the talent he has. The problem is he's still living in 1998.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Because it shows how shitty his matches are.
And where he's always right. Now, you're on a streak, kid. But then the world passes you by, and it's what old men at his age have problems with in general is they don't let go. They're still wanting to run the fucking country until their 80s, 90s, and 100s. They should have retired 20 fucking years ago. and let our generation take over my generation. That's what the fuck guys like Vince McMahon should have did.
Yeah,
and you would see it thriving under guys like Triple H, or even a guy closer to my age like Randy Orton. You would see this thing developing because they all believe in the same things. But you can't when an old dick has all the money. I get it. Listen, been through a ton of companies. And the more you do for Vince, the more he's going to fucking hate you. You know what I mean? You know?
Go ahead, Josh. I want to hear what you had to say.
Well, speaking of Randy, I know that at the recent pay-per-view, his match with Edge was one of the most hyped up matches of the event. And I know that if the most exciting thing on your pay-per-view is two guys that have been in the business for 22 years, I don't know if that means you're doing things right.
Exactly. Also,
yeah. And listen,
also the fact that Vince McMahon's going out there and making a match at Backlash, the greatest match ever, and promoting that for like weeks. Like, first, that should show how insensitive he is in his products. And I think this is my thing about the Wednesday Night Wars. And I think it's because Triple H made NXT such his baby, and now I guess he's, as you guys just told me, currently just a little bit ago, he's not involved. I think
he's been a few months
trying to destroy it by putting it up against AEW and putting shit product on that as well. That's just how I feel. He's like, fuck it. WWE's not going to follow us, but NXT can.
Hey, the best thing that and I wish everybody over there great, you know. I mean, but whatever. At the end of the day, I don't have to be your peers. I don't have to watch your product. I like pro wrestling, not sports entertainment. That's always been my deep down, just inherent difference in WWE. I've been a fan and I've been on the wagon many a times, but I'm a pro wrestling fan. And when you want to put pro wrestling on, then I'm a fan. If you want to have stupid, weird bullshit, I'm out every time.
And I don't know if it feels like a Wednesday Night War to me, because I don't care if AEW ever surpasses Vince McMahon or not. Tony Khan has enough money,
he's irrelevant,
so that as long as he's making money, he can keep this thing going. Whether Vince beats him in the ratings or not, it doesn't matter at this point.
I've lived through the war. You still wanted to know what the other side was doing. Sure. This war is different because now I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Go win whatever fake mountain of WWE Hall of Fame shit you give to yourself up there, and you compete with all other things you're not pro. Great. Go do it, and I hope everybody can stay up there and be happy. I watch pro wrestling every Wednesday nights, and I hope that no one else fucks with that, because I had pro wrestling up until 2001 when Asshole bought it and turned that into sports entertainment. So now that I have pro wrestling back in the States, and nothing against Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan, IWC, CWO, NWB, the Blue World Order, the Latino World Order, I'm not interested in any of that, okay? I like pro fucking wrestling. That's it.
I love it when people get to call it on TV professional wrestling, not being a professional superstar.
Yeah,
personally,
I agree.
Well,
my last thing I want to say real quick.
That's the play. It's a sport. We're put on the play of a sport.
Well, my last thing is NXT. Send Finn Balor to AEW so I can watch and do something great. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, sure. I can get on that bus.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. So that's, I think, all it for the To Be Named pod this week. Where can people find you guys on social media?
Great.
Yeah.
Before we go, there's just something that I think we should talk about.
Ooh, okay. I like this. I like the direction.
I don't know when I'll be back, but I just think this needs said.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk on the social media page about the MK11 champ, who it is.
That's me.
Yeah. So
supposedly, yes.
I noticed on there that there was this claim. There was this claim that that somebody may want to challenge for the title. And I agree that Jason is the champ right now. But, something that I don't know if most people know is that one person on this podcast finished in the top 1% in the world in Mortal Kombat this week.
Ooh.
Finished 0.08%. One of the top 1,600 players in the world.
And we have the photo proof right here. That was him this week.
So I just want to say, and I don't want to say any names, and I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I'll tell you what, Ken Amos, all right? If you think you can walk on this page and you can claim a title shot, first question, who are you? I don't recognize that big head from anywhere, All right, and who have you beat?
That's right.
You ain't beat a Von Erich, and you ain't beat me. And as far as I'm concerned, you're not ranked in the world. You're not ranked in the world.
Pow, 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 pow.
So there's a contender for the belt, and it's not him. So I don't want anyone to confuse that. The contender for the belt is me. So Ken, it's 2020. Ken, let's check that entitlement, okay? And let's maybe put a little work in, and when you can show ranking or win, or if you go out and buy the game, that'd be a good start. And then we'll see what you do.
I mean, I put my rankings out there. Last week I was the week before I was at 9% in the world, and then I was at 18 this week. But I didn't put much time in on Mortal Kombat, not as much time as I should.
So but
here's the other thing: if you're not even ranking, then just listen, zip it, basically.
Well, riddle me this, Batman. Is this going to be shown to the podcast members who've been loyal and who watch us constantly? Are they going to see what's going to be between the MK champ and the contender?
No, I don't think that's what you're saying at all. I don't think that Josh understands that he's the student and his place is number one contender, and it's a very prestigious place to be number one contender to my title.
Yeah, and I was thinking,
but as exhibitions show. I believe that I would still, he would gain nothing from a loss from me.
So
yeah,
good.
I get that, but I'm not. 08% is 0.08% is high.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? And I've been grinding, and I've been in there, and
that's top 1,600 players in the world.
Sure, and I think that maybe I think it might be time for just a shot at the belt. I think that I don't know if Greg's wrong, and I think that maybe I
honestly, in my opinion, and this is I have no say. I have no say what happens with the MK champ, whoever he may be. Yeah. Whoever the MK champ may be, what he just spit there was hot fire. Okay? Ken Amos, I hope you got some fucking lotion for that burn, brother, because that hurts.
See, that's what he's talking about. Yeah, he's talking about him having a match with Ken Amos.
He's talking about him having a match with Ken Amos. I don't know if I want to see that. I want a match between Josh and the champ because I don't think Ken Amos is fucking man enough to even step up to even facing Josh.
Okay, listen, I agree with that point 100%.
So, I mean, you guys figure that out. You guys let me know. We'll work something out.
Well, I don't know what we're going to do yet. You know what I mean? Exactly. Certainly we can have a discussion.
But I want that to be discussed, and we were going to talk about that without Josh on the next episode of the To Be Named podcast.
You know what? I'm going to tell you this much. I'm going to tell you this much. You know what? Okay. I'm going to grant your title shot.
Okay.
On a show of Greg's choosing. Okay. And I'm going to give you. We're going to do it here. We're going to duke it out. Old school 1, 2, and 3.
Sure.
Best of, and then a match of 11 to cap it off. We will be. No holds barred.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you what, when I demolish him and wipe the floor with them, we'll understand that stats and data, when you're as good as me, sometimes they look crazy when you do a side-by-side comparison because I'm the anomaly and I'm what balances the equation, Greg. You got to understand that. That's what most people are missing out there, the balancer. Okay, so when we say, wow, Jason mopped a guy up to 1,600th in the world, where the fuck do I fit in with that? And the question is, I don't know. But you know what? I am a fighting champion, and I will tell you this much. I need some wins to some major competitors, and I'll do that to you right here. You know what? We're going to do it right here.
No, you got to do it like the Mega Powers, though.
No, because listen.
Jealous eyes.
You saw the day you saw that machine. I saw the jealous eyes.
I'm here.
I saw Greg when he walked in. The first thing he did was look over in that corner, and I saw the jealous eyes.
I'm just saying that it's not. It could be mine. That's all. 08% says it could be mine.
We're gonna figure out the logistics of this. And folks, you've also just witnessed our league's first title shot and first main event to our first show.
I am excited. If you guys are excited, hit the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed, not just the Super Mario Bros. Channel, but also go and look at inertiaglobal.org or net. I can't quite remember. I think it's net.
First of all, how fucking dare you? You think? Look at this. You think a guy with a fucking championship belt in a Mortal Kombat would have a .org, Gregory?
.net?
Gregory Leonard Bonato Jr. I cannot
Leonard.
You just insulted me.
Effrontery.
I have a com, thank you. .com / web jump / us.org /.com, but then it's there.
My mistake.
If you go to inertiaglobal.com, the smooth waves of brilliance will drift your way.
And I'll tell you right now, I actually check out inertiaglobal.com. And I have it bookmarked, so as soon as I hit E, it pops up right then and there. I love the site. I think it's fantastic.
It's getting an overhaul very soon. I'm going to be working on a whole overhaul with a whole completely feel. It's going to be a pretty cool, fun page. I want to bring back fun web pages, and maybe I'm just showing my age, but damn, I want to be a website. People are talking about this TikTok and quack and all that shit. inertiaglobal.com is where it's going to be if you want answers to anything.
Yeah, like MySpace. It's going to be like
MySpace. It's going to be the MySpace of 2007.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was hot. That was hot.
I was all about MySpace.
And that's all. Listen, all I got to do is strike once. Then fuck it. You can have the rest. Let's just hit once, boys. And I'm leaving the casino. Wrap me up, Gregory.
So, Josh, where can we find you on social media, my friend?
You can find me. If you find Jason, you can find me. So
all right, okay, all right, JT,
and argue with us. Boy, I love the comments on YouTube, and I got in there and mixed it up with a lot of comments. I wanted to thank all my friends for commenting. I didn't even see them, and like you said, you didn't see them either. But mix it up with us, and I forget to check the YouTube for that because I just look immediately to the Facebook pages. But damn, I like getting in there and mixing up with some people. And there was a couple. Sounds like your boys don't even like PlayStation. You know what I mean? They're talking.
They don't.
Shit.
There's not a lot of my friends who are PlayStation loyals like myself.
They're bad.
Hey, I remember my first group of friends I had to cut ties with. Because I don't know if you just went there on a fucking Microsoft Xbox.
I'll answer that. You can't be.
Yeah, you can't be. All right.
All right. Well, you can find me at Ghost Named Greg on wow. No, because it's
everywhere.
At Ghost Named Greg on Twitter. I had to think about my Twitter handles because I changed some of them real quick. Twitch.tv/the Ghost Named Greg. Follow me on there. I recently started an RP server where I'm a co-leader of a gang. It's pretty lit. We're getting credibility. I actually, right after this podcast, I got to go in there and whip some people into shape right after.
Jesus. I don't know what that is, but if I didn't have to go immediately edit this for the next 7 hours, I would run and play Last of Us 2.
Go catch us on.
Now I know me and Josh will go and discuss the after show on my deck, which we should record too, as we discuss.
I want that recorded.
Because we were
also on Instagram at the Ghost Named Greg.
Yeah.
Good guys. Always remember, like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below. We want you guys to get heated with us down in the comments, so we got something to discuss with. I want to talk with them about this real quick. I think that one of the peoples who are like the most controversial in the comments, I like to bring them on a show and have like a 2v1.
Well, we have a lot of surprises in store for who can show up on this podcast, or who might be in the seat of doom right next to me, or who could dial in. I got a modem that gets me to the internet, buddy. I'm not afraid.
Well, that's it for the TV Game podcast, guys. Until next time.